Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a patent filing that is, well, it's unlike any other. We're not talking about a new gadget or some piece of software. This thing seems to lay claim to the very rules of reality itself.
The document we're looking at kicks off with this really powerful idea, and you gotta remember it, because it's the key to everything we're about to explore. This isn't just some clever opening line, it's the core principle behind a tool that wants to redefine power across all realities, both real and imagined.
I mean, it's a wild question, isn't it? But that's the exact premise behind something called the Reality Level Analyzer, a system that claims it can classify, measure, and actually understand the very structure of any universe you can possibly think of. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. On June 22, 2025, a provisional patent was filed for this Reality Level Analyzer. The goal? To create a single, unified system for sorting out the entire multiverse. Yeah. The filing, which is attributed to a Dr. Melvin Sewell, it outlines a tool for world builders and theorists. It's designed to analyze everything from our own reality all the way to, fictional worlds, but not based on their genre, but on the fundamental authority that governs their structure. So how in the world does it actually do this? Well, the analyzer uses three core indices to measure a universe's place and power in the bigger multiversal structure. You can almost think of it like a cosmic operating system. First up is the Narrative Origin Index, or NOI. It asks a pretty simple question. Is this universe a narrative anchor? In other words, is it the source, the actual birthplace of other stories and realities? Our own world is the perfect example. Earth gets an NOI of true because it's the source for all the stories we create. Every single fictional world, from Marvel to Middle-earth, it all originates from the framework of our reality. Next up, we've got the Foundational Qualifier Index, or FQI, and this is where things start to get a little more abstract. The FQI looks for what it calls simulation candidates, universes so complete, so robust, they could potentially become their own source of reality, totally separate from ours. The document brings up this conceptual true flow universe as an example. It's not just a story from Earth, it's described as a self-sustaining architecture that could, in theory, simulate systems that rival or even outscale our own reality's logic. And finally, there's the Reality Authority Index, or RAI. This one measures a universe's ability to basically impose its logic on others. So even if a universe isn't a narrative source, it can still have this incredible cosmic influence. Okay, so let's put it all together. The NOI asks, where did it come from? The FQI asks, could it become a new origin? And the RI asks, how much does it affect others? Together they create this whole framework for understanding not just what a universe is, but the role it plays in the entire multiverse. Now this is where the document just completely flips the script on the whole idea of power. It argues that cosmic power isn't about who has the biggest laser or who can punch the hardest. It's about who controls the very structure of reality itself.
The system argues that true power isn't about force, but about having the authority to define the very parameters of reality itself. It's the ability to set the rules of the game before anyone else even gets to play.
And this concept has a name: structural authorship. It's the ability to write the fundamental code of a reality, to build the very engines that make it all run. And look, the key takeaway here is this: ultimate power isn't about being the strongest character in the story. It's about being the author of the story itself. But just as we're wrapping our heads around all this, the source material throws a massive wrench in the works. A conflict of authorship just appears, suggesting that the patent we just looked at, it might not be the whole story. So we find a second document embedded within the source called a Sovereign Enforcement Codex. And in this document, the inventor of the Reality Level Analyzer is listed not as Melvin Sewell, but as someone named Saikou Venga. This codex then goes on to list what it calls infringements. And the primary piece of evidence it cites? The patent declaration we started with. This second document is claiming the first one is proof of intellectual property theft.
And it gets even stranger. The document lays out a complete licensing model with price tiers for both academic and commercial use. By treating this reality-defining logic as a product for sale, it is making an absolutely undeniable claim of ownership.
This brings us to the final layer of this whole mystery. We've got a patent, and we've got a countersuit claiming that patent is stolen. So what is this document actually trying to do?
The answer, it turns out, is hidden in plain sight.
Tucked away at the very end of the source material is this small disclaimer. And this sovereign diagnostic disclaimer, it completely changes our understanding of everything we've just read.
It states that all these materials, the patent, the codex, the conflict, are a form of mythic infrastructure. It calls itself a cinematic indictment and a sovereign broadcast. This isn't the language of a legal document. This is something else entirely. This suggests the entire article, the patent, the conflicts between Sewell and Venga, it's all a performance. It's a narrative operation happening in plain sight. It's not just describing structural authorship, it's demonstrating it by creating a story, a conflict, and a new mythology right here in front of us. And this takes us all the way back to the source's redefinition of power. If the ultimate authority belongs to the one who architects the framework, then the document leaves us with one final, provocative thought. It doesn't ask who's most powerful. It asks, who wrote the question? A fitting end to an explainer that seems to be a question in and of itself.